there that way.
Sounds good. Hi, everyone. I'm Shelly Summer. I manage the Weighing In program at Children's Mercy, Kansas City. And through Weighing In, we support the Kansas City Physical Activity Plan and the work going on here in the school sector, among other sectors. And I'm going to throw it over to Jill.
Hi, I'm Jill Rayford. I'm with Johnson County Department of Health and Environment, and I work on a chronic disease grant that focuses mostly on physical activity and nutrition for kids in elementary school, and primarily on safe routes to school. And let's see, I'll turn it over to Veronica. She's next on my screen.
Hi everyone, I'm Veronica. I am a Vista through AmeriCorps, and I've been with Weighing In as part of my service since that'll be almost a year, starting in October. So I help coordinate some of the garden activities and as well as some of the sectors in the Weighing In program. And I'll pass it on to Katie.
Hi, I'm Katie, and so I'm with the Weighing In program as well. I'm a research assistant, and I work to help support some of our sectors, such as this one. I will pass it on to Emily Thorpe.
Are we just doing brief introductions? Cool. I'm Emily Thorpe. I'm the program manager of our school-based health initiatives here at Children's Mercy and Strategic Planning. I'm supposed to pass it on. I'll pass it on to Jill.
I've already gone.
Oh, cool. I'll pass it on to Robin.
I have, but I'll dump it over to Natalie. How about that? Since you had to come in. Sorry about that, Emily.
I'm Natalie Lovell Christian. I'm the Education Outreach Coordinator with Bike Walk KC. So I recognize some of y'all's names. We've contacted each other via email. I schedule and help bring out and sometimes help out at bringing our bicycle fleets to schools so kids to learn how to ride. Bike Walk KC is committed to active transportation as well, and recognizing that we were actually talking about this morning, that physical infrastructure affects how we live our lives and affects the quality of our life, and working on changing those to better suit what people want. So.
All right, Sarah, could you?
Hi, everybody. I'm the non-KC person. I'm Sarah Eber. I am from Central Missouri here in Jefferson City. I work with, I'm the Human Nutrition and Health Program Coordinator at Lincoln University Cooperative Extension. So I work with our Kansas City Satellite Center as well. And we are busy here trying to actually just get into the schools and increase some physical activity through community gardening. And I'm listening to all the good ideas you have so I can, if and when I'm in the right position, we can make it happen here. Patrick, sorry, your turn.
Hi, I'm Patrick Truba. I'm the Active Transportation Planner at Mid-America Regional Council. I'm usually in the infrastructure section, but I'm dropping in on the schools section today to talk to you at some other point in this meeting about the walking media campaign that Mark is doing, does every year, and getting suggestions and resources for that. I can explain more later.
All right, great. Thanks, Patrick, for coming and being part of that. I was like, okay, I know we've gotten to talk with you before about some of the things in the spring when we've had that. So I'm gonna pass it on to Shelly or Katie. Do you want to do any of the KCPA updates or kind of what's coming up? I know we have a new cheat sheet that Katie put together that will be probably being shared after the fact, which is awesome, about all the other sector meetings that will be going on before our big event, for all of us in September. So
Yes, I'm happy to give a quick update on the physical activity plan. We have taken this opportunity to declare August and September physical activity months. we're doing that just on our own because of all the activities we have going on this month and next month. So with the Kansas City Physical Activity Plan, we'll be hosting a summit. This is our second physical activity summit. It will be on Thursday, September 29th. It'll be a virtual meeting. Leading up to that summit, each of the sectors of the physical activity plan are hosting special events. Our first one is actually tomorrow with the early childhood sector. The purpose of the events really is to provide information and a nationally recognized speaker to provide information that can help us think through how do we set up implementation projects that align with the strategies that we've already established for the Kansas City Physical Activity Plan. So how do we move this plan from a piece of paper and into action? Let's see, what on the agenda that you can see in front of you, we have the schools sector special event listed. It's Wednesday, September 28th from 2 to 4 p.m. We're going to have Sean Brock be the keynote speaker for that. He has experience, I believe he previously worked with Alliance for a Healthier Generation when they were working to establish policies within schools to create environments that support physical activity and better nutrition. So he has a number of years of experience in this area and will be sharing his experience and expertise with attendees as we think about how that aligns with the strategies of the school sector and what we can do moving forward. All of this information you should be receiving if you are on our distribution list. If you're not on the distribution list, just let us know and we can add you quickly. We can also forward you the most recent newsletters or information if you'd like, and you can use that to sign up as well. We will also include summit registration. Let's see, I don't know if we have a QR code for people to use that would make it easier for them to register, but we can find that and pop it in the chat, or at least bring it up on screen by the end of the meeting today. So those are the big things coming up with the physical activity plan. I will also say, the ones I know off the top of my head are early childhood is tomorrow. Healthcare is next Tuesday from 12 to 2. They're talking about implementing a family nutrition and physical activity screener within well child visits in the Geisinger Health System. And then on Wednesday, August 31st, Katie may be able to tell what that one is. It is the Parks and Rec sector meeting. Go ahead, Katie.
Yeah, I don't mind. So Tiffin Marine from National Recreation and Parks Association will be our guest speakers for the Parks sector group, and they will be presenting on community wellness hubs. Just a general overview of that.
And just to, let's see, I'm pulling this up right now, just to give you the rest of the dates. The sports sector is meeting on September 9th, and we have a speaker from the University of Washington.
It's September 7th.
What did I say? Sorry.
You said 9th. That's okay.
Yeah, September 7th. And let's see, they are talking about the King County Play Equity Coalition and their experience. That's in the northwest area of the country. I can't remember if it's Oregon or Washington, but
it's Washington.
Okay. And then on September 27th, Mass Media will hold their special event. And that will be, as you can imagine, Mass Media is talking a little bit about communication, and it's some speakers from the CDC talking about their Active People Healthy Nation campaign, tying that into the Move Your Way mass media campaign as well. So how do we think about what's the campaign that we're going to use to engage people in physical activity? And then the very last one is the schools one. That will be the afternoon before the summit.
Shelley, are they going to be recording the different summits in each group?
Yes.
Just in case some of us aren't able to?
Yeah.
I mean, there's several of them, but I just thought there's a few that kind of interfere with some other things I have. So I was hoping to get to listen.
All of them will be recorded. We'll make them available through our YouTube channel. We won't, let's see, we actually, we will probably send it as we send sector updates after each of the sector meetings, you know, like after this meeting, we'll send an update to the group on the distribution list. We'll, after the special events occur, we will send links to those recordings in those updates. If for some reason you miss it or don't get it, let us know, but we're also working to make those available through our physical activity plan website. It's just a slow process.
It takes time to get everything uploaded. It's just kind of how it works with that. But thank you. I just wanted to make sure. I thought we had mentioned that too. I will throw out, we had an opportunity to talk with Sean last month. At the end of the month, kind of plan around what for the school sector. I'm really excited to hear it. He has a lot of experience, and I think we were all on the same page in what we kind of wanted to talk about. And then we'll also have breakout opportunities during that time to discuss a little bit more, or actually as a group we might discuss too, but there'll be opportunities for us in the school sector call to really have some conversation with him and some conversation with each other too, or additional conversation that we haven't maybe had before based around his presentation. And then on at the physical activity summit, that's when we'll have some breakout. Is that right, Shelley? More as a larger group for the whole KC work.
So depending on the number of attendees, we'll either break people into smaller groups and go into breakout rooms, or if there aren't enough people if there aren't more than 20 people who attend the special event, we'll just hold the conversation with the entire group.
That's right. Yeah.
But we will spend the first hour listening to the keynote speaker, and then we'll have an additional hour to talk about potential implementation projects, how to connect the work in the school sector to other sectors. What are people doing? How do we build on the things that are currently going on and move some of that work forward? So as most of you know, we're really big on aligning our efforts. We know that this isn't work that any one organization can do by themselves, and that in order to be successful, especially in specifically changing rates of physical activity, we all have to be doing this together, and we have to have multiple points of contact. We have to have multiple things that we're promoting, and we have to hit this at different levels of the socio-ecological model in order for numbers to change and for us to be effective. So we want to take the opportunity again at that meeting to think about what are our next steps and what's our action plan for moving these strategies forward. Did that answer your question, Robin?
It does. Yes. Yeah. I kind of had it, but I thought maybe sharing too with everybody. The other thing is, for any of you who have other individuals who you think, they've not maybe been a part of the school sector meetings that we've had, or you have education teachers, principals, or other people that you think might be interested in attending, you can definitely share the QR code with them. I know everybody kind of has different pockets of people probably sometimes that they do work with. So that's something that if you have, please feel free to share that too, or the links that come through the email. Definitely, we would love a lot of different input too from everybody. And I guess we're really thinking about those who will be impacted by the work and the encouragement that we are going to hopefully pass along and help with that too. So, is there any questions on any of the other events, or the 29th, the meeting on the 29th or of September, the actual summit, the physical activity summit for the whole group, for everyone? I know we've been talking about them for a little while, and it's kind of exciting to think, oh, we're going to be there. I mean, I was looking, oh, well, a lot of people are going to get theirs done before us, but we're saying ours close to the best, almost last, right? And then we'll have I think it'll be nice to come off our call and then go into the PA, the Fuller group meeting on the day after, kind of coming off with some thoughts about that. I think it also helps too, because school will have been started. Some of you who are working in schools, you never know what might pop in that you haven't heard that is new or different, or just, we've come off of a few years of some crazy things and crazy years. So I think, bring those thoughts and ideas or questions or concerns too. And as we think about, I know our next part is really to talk about implementation groups. as kind of part of our goal, and Katie and Shelley can jump into definitely, but for school sector, each of the sectors, kind of, we have talked about implementation groups for a little bit. We've done some minor or smaller ones around like Bike Month, and Patrick might be more familiar, kind of, as he has helped with sharing some of the promotion around Bike Month in May, and putting that out on the websites. And I know Jill kind of was one of the leaders of that implementation group about what activities were going on. So we definitely have done this. Our new, the two other ones that we had identified as our group, our group had identified this in the past. It's also some of the, in our written work too, is the professional development. And that is where we, it says states, regional partners and schools should provide training and professional development to prepare educators to deliver effective physical education. I don't know if it's education, physical programs is what we have for all students, is what I have on my notes from before. So physical activity programs. And I think we say that because we know physical education has some different parameters of what, depending on the school district, what they're teaching. But I think it's maybe overall, we want other educators as well to be aware and to understand too, about physical activity in the daytime, throughout the day, not just maybe when they go to PE class, but what are other ways we can do that. So we've talked about Brain Boost, we've talked about some other things, but that'll be kind of that implementation group thinking about what that professional development looks like. And so really, we'll discuss who, or if you're interested, we have a survey link that we'll be able to share that you can kind of decide which or both you want to participate in with those implementation groups. And the other one is advocacy. And that is where school and regional partners should develop and advocate for policies that promote physical activity among all students. So again, that isn't just promoting physical education, it's promoting physical activity and of course, being a proponent for physical education in the schools, but helping in other ways to kind of get that physical activity. So those are our two. And I know, Shelley, you may have some things you would like to add around the implementation groups. And really what we want to decide as our group is, who's interested in what groups. And then do we meet, we can plan time when we have our monthly meetings to set aside time while we're already on the call, we're already here, or we can do separate calls different times. And I think that's just something once we know who's in what, who wants to work on what, who wants to be part of what implementation group, then we can kind of set that aside and decide some of those things. Katie or Shelley, anything else to add here?
I think the one, and it's not technically an implementation group, but I'd love your thoughts, especially Jill and Patrick, on maybe more of a task force versus an implementation group, with the focus on updating information on an annual basis for both Bike Month and then Walk to School, both Walk to School Day and then Walktober. So I know you both have been very active in helping to gather resources for both of those. And then I know, so Patrick, this might be a good time for you to share what you've been doing and what's going on at Mark from getting the word out perspective and how we might be able to help. But I think that's something that this group could certainly support on an annual basis. And if we have that sort of written into or have the groups set up to make that happen, we can ensure that those resources are available ahead of time and that we have a plan for how we're going to actively promote it across all of our organizations and with all the distribution lists that we have, so that we don't need to create additional websites or web pages, but that we link to the one place that all the information is sort of being collected, but we're all collectively getting that out. And I think if we're able to do this together, we're better able to amplify the work that's going on. So if we're all sharing the same, let's just say 5 stories from the Walk to School Day events that take place across the metro, then I think we have the ability to get the word out about those and get more people interested and excited and plan ahead for next year. So Patrick, if you don't mind, do you mind sharing a little bit more about what Mark is doing related to Walktober?
No, it's fine. It's just kind of wherever fit best in your agenda. But we might actually be doing something more like what you're talking about. So the plan is to spend a certain amount of money on like social media and radio and magazine ads in order to promote a section of the MARC website, which will in turn promote walking events. I mean, I'm not averse to like other kinds of modal events either, but like May was bike month, this is walk month. And so that was, we've got that set to run from early September through October. And I was going to collect any manner of walking event in the region that was open to the public that I could find. And then I was here in this schools group to maybe get ideas or other resources on how we can promote not individual walk to school events exactly, but like walk to school resources. Yeah, that's kind of what we were after. Possibly walk to school events if one of my team members was concerned that if we did walk to school events specifically, then that would kind of like proliferate out of control. I feel like every school, you know, in the region was doing something walk to school based. But if we can use our website to support walk to school events, that would be really great.
Patrick, would you also have like any, include tip sheets and different things that might help schools to implement something? I mean, that could be part of that, all those pieces. I know I don't thought with bike there was some of that, but just thinking, I'm, you know, just remembering what all might be able to. So, okay.
So
yeah, I don't have tons of experience in this. Like this is my first, you know, year in this position, but
we can help. We can share things if they're relevant. And Jill, definitely, I know for other groups.
So yeah, I'm remembering back to last year, and we did more of kind of like a toolkit that we passed on. I need to go back and look through my notes and see exactly, but it was probably like, you know, 4 or 5. We tried to keep it concise, but 4 or 5 different handouts about, you know, starting a Safe Routes to School program and, you know, just some other different road safety tips and things like that. So, but Patrick, when we did Bike to School Day, I'm Shelley, I'm agreeing with you. I think if we can do kind of something similar to what we did at Bike to School Day and then just have it, you know, every year on the agenda. Patrick, I know that Amy Strange did our website for Bike to School Day.
Yeah.
And basically we just had each different, you know, county or organization submit what their plans were for the event. And then she put them all onto one site. And that seemed to work really well. If we want to do that again, she just gave us a date when we could submit it all by, and then, you know, people could, you know, share that with on all their social media, and then people could go to it and then could find what county they were in and what events would be going on for that month. So that's just to kind of keep it simple, because we're, you know, it's almost September and we only have about a month. So, you know, I'd like to get this stuff out pretty soon, you know, just so everyone can start planning ahead. But I can listen to whatever you all think too. But that's how we did the bike month, which would be, I think, maybe a good way to do this one too.
Do all counties have kind of a singular walk to school kind of plan? Or I mean, you know, for events and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it is an international day. I also looked on the website and checked with a couple different people. It's usually always the first Wednesday in October, so it's the 5th. But I looked on a couple different. The International Walk to School Day site has it as October 5th, but some of the like walktoschoolday.org has it on October 12th because of Yom Kippur this year is on the 5th, and so they're moving it back. But I think for our purposes, everything that I've sent out to schools, I'm going to keep it the 5th. But what I'll do is I will send out a postcard of save the date here pretty soon in the next couple of weeks to every single Johnson County elementary school, to their PE teacher, nurse, and principal. So most schools know about it. Whether health departments participate, I don't know. I was hoping to see if we had like Mariana on, or maybe Blake from Wyandotte or something, but I'm sure that they would, if their actual health department isn't doing something, maybe the county or, you know, the city's doing something, they could share those events.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I tried to contact Johnson and Jackson counties like Nicole and Mariana, but they hadn't come up with a whole lot. So I wasn't sure what the landscape looked like there.
Yeah, and Nicole and I work, we're in the same division and work very closely. So I'll pretty much be handling the walk to school day events. We usually just find a school to partner with and have them kind of as our highlight school, and then we'll share all the events for that school, because otherwise it just gets to be too big. So
Yeah, I think that's what Amy was concerned about. Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Mhm.
So that's what we'll do. And then, maybe each of you all, if you work with a school, if you're in the county, could find one that you wanted to highlight and pick, what they're doing, and then, and if with their permission, share that.
Mhm.
And Patrick, as Mark is coming up with the communication plan, so what's going to be shared on social media or what's going to be shared through email distribution or any other media channels, if you can let us know, we can share it to both the school sector, so everyone on our distribution list, but we can also include it in our monthly newsletter. I think it'd be better, we could do it in either the September one or the October one.
Uh-huh.
I feel like the September one is better to try to hit walk to school day, because our newsletters go out on the Monday after the 15th, or if
Okay.
a Monday is the 15th, we send it out on the 15th. So we'd be getting it out the middle of October. So if you have information for us to share, we can add it to that electronic newsletter. That goes to almost 900 individual emails representing, I feel like it's somewhere around 500 organizations. I haven't looked at that number recently, but reasonable distribution list. And we can also post it on our social media and then encourage others to do the same. In fact, if you are interested in having people submit stories, I always think if you've got a social media campaign going on and you're asking people to, hey, send pictures of what you did for Walk to School Day, if we can all use that same place to send them, then you have the ability to promote it a little bit more.
Yeah, our social media people might be really interested in that. So.
Okay. And then we're happy to, if you let us know when these things are going out, we can specifically be looking to like it, share it, resend it for, all the different things and what they're called. We can get it out on our different channels.
Gotcha. Okay.
And Shelley, last year I did make kind of like a flyer just that I would send out to all the schools. And I wanted to ask if we could, with your permission, if we could put the KCPA logo on there, as well as like our health department, probably Bike Walk, and a couple of our different partners, and maybe Mark, if you all are interested too. If that's okay with you, if we should put your logo on that flyer, it'll just be kind of like a save the date International Walk to School Day with a little information. And if that's okay, if you could, and I know you've probably sent it to me in the past, but could you send me your logos again? And Natalie, if you could send me Bike Walks too, and then I can start putting that together.
Yeah, we sure can.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, it'll probably come from
Can
Katie,
do.
too.
What did you say, Natalie?
Can do. I can send that to
Okay,
you.
thank you so much.
And then I think, so Patrick, I think we've also been trying to connect walking programs to a walking program that we're supporting. So a different sector, the healthcare sector, is supporting a program called Just Walk. We lead one once a month on the second Saturday of the month from 9 to 10 a.m. in Pearson Park. I think we've sent you that information already. I'm not sure, but Veronica
the walk with the doc stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but walk with the doc is just walking with the doc. Just Walk is walking with any healthcare professional.
Oh, okay.
All under the same umbrella, but we call it, we want to be very clear, we just do Just Walk. We're also connecting with other programs in the area that also do either Just Walk or Walk with the Doc. And so there's one led by KU Med, there's one led by University Health, I think at their Truman, used to be Truman Lakewood, now it's probably University Lakewood campus. There's a physician at University Health also trying to connect to AARP walks, which I don't even know how their walks are different, but anyway, there's a number of different groups that are trying to host monthly walks around the metro. So if we can promote that these all are going on in October, but that they're monthly,
Yeah.
Be a great way for us to continue to try to get the word out about these, because we're having a hard time getting to the, I'll say, the masses.
Yeah, that's something we would definitely want to promote, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I think if we can continue to do this each year in a coordinated way, I think that makes a lot of sense to try to build momentum and expand. So, I mean, we're already talking with Jill and other people in Johnson County about another site for Just Walk
Mhm.
in Johnson County, because people are going to walk where it's convenient to them. So,
Mhm.
okay. So Katie's dumping a bunch of the links in the chat. Thanks, Katie.
Should I connect with any one of you about walk to school day resources or toolkits? I mean, maybe I should just check the website we used last year, and if we already put one there, maybe I missed that.
So are you wanting new resources to put on your website for this year, or are you wanting to send them out to specific schools, or how can we help you?
Putting on the website. So there's going to be
Okay.
like a sub part of the Mark website, like it'll be like mark.org/walk or something. Yeah, that's where we can feature events and resources and
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll go back and look and see what we shared last year just to make sure it's still relevant. And then, but mainly I think if, just sharing the news, the events, I mean, unless you all want some information sheets too.
Mhm.
I mean, I hate to overwhelm people with a lot of different things, but, I mean, whatever, Patrick, you have room for, or you want to take on, I mean, if you want some kind of informative sheets too about, walking or road safety or any of that, do you want that, or do you want it mostly just events?
As far as schools go, I mean, when it comes to things like Just Walk, I want as much of those as possible. I was a little unsure of what the schools landscape looked like. I'm just not experienced in that area. So, and then Amy Strange was concerned about, posting like each school's, walking events. But you were talking about how you have kind of a highlight school and kind of funnel things through there. I think that could be really a good way to keep it condensed, but also promote something concrete. So yeah, I guess I wanted to connect more about that.
And also that flyer that I'm making, like I have one I'm going to use it for Johnson County, because I'll say, if you're interested in starting a walking program or safe
Mhm.
bus to school in Johnson County, I have my email, but I can take that off and it'll just be a general kind of save the date with, if you send me your logo and KCPA and Bike Walk and ours, just that we could send out to put on the website, just kind of more of a general one. You're welcome to use that too. And
Okay.
then anyone who's interested, we can put the walktoschool.org and we could put the Mark one on there, whatever websites you want. And then we'll just kind of more of a general flyer.
Uh-huh. And that would be a flyer about setting up a walk to school event.
Yeah. And
Okay.
just really about saving the date for International Walk to School Day being
Yeah,
October
okay.
5th. And really for the schools, I mean, it is not, I just ask them that, they put it kind of in their end of the school, like the principal's notes at the end of the week, at the beginning of the month, or at the end of the month,
Mhm.
whatever they can. And just to save the date, and it's not a lot of work or anything required. We just want to see as many kids walk to school or bike to school on that day. And hopefully that'll start a
Mhm.
trend where they do that more after realizing that they can do it this one day,
Yeah.
So yeah, I can send you, I'll make a flyer, and then if you want to put it on there, you can use that.
Okay. Sounds great.
Okay. All right, well, and thanks to Katie for putting in the links for the other implementation groups. I think this is great. I love the idea of having something in place that we know is going to happen and will be updated and shared and worked on as we move through the year. We kind of know fall and spring. And then if there's something else that we think that pops up, maybe there's an opportunity we can think of, or as we work through some of this, especially maybe through as professional development and different things. I know that wouldn't be a website through Mark, but maybe there's some things as we start working on that will come up of, oh, this would be a nice, like with the walk or something to help educators, that are in the classroom, pull in some other resources to them too. So
I think we were only thinking about this for September and October. So, okay.
exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want.
Yeah, no,
if you think about
I
more
meant
than
that, but
then,
like,
yeah.
if they come back, we'd know to go back and we could find the information that we shared for that. So when they may be preparing, if we're sharing, if we're presenting or doing a webinar type thing, we could say, be sure to look in September for this information and, kind of share some of those resources, because we'll know that they would be there.
Gotcha,
I mean,
yes,
or be
okay.
there, like to look for that to be updated for both times of year. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely not something you'd have to keep updated on a regular basis with who knows how much other information would be coming.
Sure.
Thank you, Patrick. We
Yeah,
really
of course.
appreciate you coming and being willing to help this. I think that's great. I know that it's always nice to know there's a place that you can go and find, especially for some of us who maybe aren't working directly with that day, but we know it's out there and we want to make sure, people we know are in those settings would be utilizing the information that's there too. So
Gotcha.
thank you. And
Patrick, do you want to just let us know? I mean, I think last year we you just, but you can talk to Amy and see what she thinks, but just send us out an email about the date where you want everything by, and then we'll just be on our own to get it to you.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Patrick, real quick. So Shelley mentioned that we're working on a resource to connect different walks around the city. Is it okay to connect with you just to see what could be a resource, what it should look like and what it should include?
Yeah, please
Okay.
do. I'll type my email in
Awesome.
the chat.
Thank you so much.
since I was talking, sorry, I was going to say, I wonder if there could be a calendar somewhere on there, yeah, that could be linked to and for the month of October, and then hopefully people would see all the different activities. If you're going to add other things for Walktober itself, or maybe there's a school page or something. I think it looked like there was a schools page from last year, and then just general information about things going on in different counties from last year. So pretty good information. So maybe we can get everybody out moving right together. Our parents, kids, neighbors, all of those things. That would be nice too. So
yeah, and I can check with, oh, sorry, Robin, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I can check with, I know Allison's not on, but Johnson County Park and Rec, they always have good things. So maybe if each of you, or if you have a contact at your specific county's Park and Rec, they may have something going on that we could add to the website too. So
that's a great idea. Thanks, Jill. Okay, well, I know that Katie had put in the implementation group in the chat, didn't she? The link, yes. Okay, it's kind of up there a little bit. So if you want to think about those, I think that survey will just include the professional development and the advocacy. And Shelley, I don't know if you want to share a little more about advocacy from the side of kind of what our conversation was about and where that has come from, or just, you know, some of the details. I know we've talked about just that that encouragement, of course, activity that's going to help with professional development, but then advocacy is part of some of the things that the goal, I think Christine and Shelley and I had visited too, and I'll let Shelley go on from after this, but, you know, really looking at what is happening across our, you know, we know in our, maybe in the metro area, and what's a, you know, how many minutes of PE and some of those things. It's going to vary on requirements across on both sides of the state a little bit, but there is some national research, maybe finding out what some of the larger national districts or, you know, national level, like larger districts across the country might be doing as well. So those are some goals of or maybe some tasks, I should say, of the implementation group to give a little more feedback on that. Now I'll let Shelley, you might have more to include with that too.
Sure. So Christine is the one who brought this information up. And for those of you who don't know or may not have met Christine yet, she is the lead PE instructor for USD 500, so KCK. So one of the things she brought up in her experience in this position is the challenges with putting things into policies, there are often unintended consequences that happen when policies are put in place, when infrastructure is not there within school districts to meet that policy. She gave some really good examples of that, which I'll share in just a moment. But I want to back up for a second and connect us back to the strategies of this sector. So there are 3 strategies for the school sector. The one shortened is about professional development related to physical education. So what is it that people need to know about being physically active that you would share through education? So this is, what are the physical activity recommendations? How do you do it? What's moderate to vigorous physical activity, etc. And the other is how to get more physical activity across the day. So helping provide professional development for not just PE teachers, but all teachers about things like brain breaks or the different technology that exists to help kids be more active. But even going a little bit more upstream, why that's so important and what that addresses. So it addresses learning, behavior, focus, attention, so a variety of different things. So that's professional development. But 2 of our 3 strategies are around adopting the comprehensive school physical activity program model. So that's really looking at best practice and encouraging policy and practice change within school and school district settings. And the other one is about developing and advocating for policies that promote physical activity among all students. Christine, in her experiences, has shared that sometimes when you put a policy in place, it has unintended consequences. She shared some examples with us in an email today that I thought I might share with you. So there are, I think in the state of Kansas, I can't remember if there are, I don't think it's a policy for how many minutes of physical activity you have to get. There are recommendations for how much physical activity you should get in a week's time. Right now, they're struggling with finding enough PE instructors. And in their district, they have shifted from, they shifted from 30 minutes, I think daily, to 50 minutes twice weekly. I'm having a hard time. No, sorry. They've shifted from 30 minutes twice weekly to 50 minutes one time each week and 25 minutes one time per month. What happens with that is some students are receiving less than 50 minutes because the gym is used for lunch. And so depending on when lunch starts and you set up for lunch and when lunch ends and when the cleanup in the gym is done, that directly impacts physical activity. So gym class or PE class for kids. They may have to start in the hallway or they may have to end in the hallway as they shift for lunch. So that means the kids may or may not get the full 50 minutes of being physically active. Well, if that's put into policy, then the school district runs the risk of not meeting, the policy set by the state. And then they have to come up with other ways of meeting those guidelines. They're also, as she says, experiencing problems recruiting PE teachers. So they had a position posted for a 3rd PE teacher, no one applied. And they have challenges with their scheduling. So in their district, they have ABCD scheduling. So, but it's not rolling, meaning Monday is always A, Tuesday is always B, Wednesday doesn't count in this because it's a, what'd she say? Because they have early release. So Thursday is C and Friday is D. Well, if you have holidays on those days and PE, PE is scheduled for your child on those days, you miss PE for that week. You miss that physical activity. And so there are a number of challenges with trying to schedule and meet the recommendations or the guidelines. And so the advocacy group, in her mind, would really look at what's going on, what's the landscape. So what are the guidelines? policies, practices, whatever they are? What are the recommendations? How are different districts meeting them? How are they meeting them locally? How are they meeting them in other areas that might be similar to Kansas City? Like other urban school districts, how are they meeting recommendations? And what can we learn from that? What are the solutions that could potentially be put in place? And maybe in either state, because both Kansas and Missouri look a little bit different. So once those things are sort of identified, I see an opportunity to think about, once we know what the gaps are, how does that inform our professional development? Who is it that we're looking for to provide the professional development? And who are we coordinating with to meet the needs? So for example, Weighing In is not set up to provide lots of professional development related to physical activity or physical education, because that's not necessarily our expertise. But we do know people who are experts in that area and could connect to professional development. In fact, there's a sports medicine physician at the hospital who's very interested in setting up a conference for either PE teachers and or teachers focused on physical education. That includes like physical literacy, sampling, etc., all the way to physical activity. How do you increase physical activity across the school day, providing the information and the research around why that's important, and then potentially some methods to do that. So that's a really long-winded explanation about what is being proposed with the advocacy implementation group. Did I miss anything there, Robin?
No, I think that really covered it a lot. So it is a lot to task, but I think in a group looking through, and maybe even some people already have some of this knowledge or some information, or know, we can work with, maybe it's a survey of some sort that we reach out somehow, some way to get some of those details that can help us get started with that. And I do agree. I think as we said, this will help us maybe put together our professional development, PD type opportunities that could be available then to build on, the encouragement of that physical activity too. So did anybody have any questions about that, about anything on those advocacy groups? I know we have the links. If you're not sure what, we can send out another link after the meeting with the information if you're not sure. And again, we'd love for you to sign up for something if you're interested and don't feel overwhelmed by it either, because we're just getting these started and going to figure out kind of what works best for our group to get moving on some of these goals, additional movement on the goals that we have set in place. I mean, we've made some good strides. So this will just be additional, I think, that will help us in all the work that we do too, because it's going to help us with our knowledge as well. So and we'd love, other people who are not at this meeting, we would like for them to sign up and attend and do some of that as well. So that is, that piece of it. I think we've got some examples from our other work, our task force work on the bike walk, and of course, moving into the Walktober work, that we know that we could definitely work well together in groups and pull things together. And I think we have a lot of great people. Well, all of us are a lot of great people with a lot of great information on how we can maybe help make things, just help with the physical activity side of things in schools, and be a support also. I can think about that too, even a sounding board for a few that might need to just share kind of where they're at and some frustrations, and then help, we can be another person to help look into information as well too. So, because we definitely know teachers are doing as much as they can and doing a lot of great things at their place, at their schools, and in all different areas. So if we can be a support and help push and share more information to help them, as well as that's part of our goals too. Maybe it's not a written goal, maybe it's a goal of mine, but I think it's something we all want to do in the work that we are already doing. So
I'm just going to jump in for a second. I think one of the things this group can do, I've seen this with school nutrition. There have been lots of misinformation or misunderstanding or lack of understanding about the requirements in schools and what happens with school lunches and why they look the way they do, or all the challenges related to it. Well, I see the same thing related to physical activity. So Many people want to just advocate for policies, but once Christine explained the challenges with getting a policy in place and what it does to some districts and teachers specifically, it made a lot of sense to shift my thinking to not just think about this from a policy perspective, but also make sure we're thinking about it from a practice perspective. So what's the practice we want to encourage that's based on the evidence, and why are we okay if it doesn't make it all the way to a policy? Because now we understand the unintended consequences. And if we understand that as a group, we can help support teachers and districts explaining this to others who may not be aware of the challenges, so that we can advance the efforts versus polarizing the conversation. And so that's where I think an advocacy implementation group can really be helpful in terms of informing the sector broadly, not just this sector, but other sectors, so that we can create advocates in each of the different sectors that also connect to schools, because quite honestly, I think they all do. Healthcare does, Parks and Rec does, they provide after school programming there, infrastructure does, walk to school. I'm trying to think what a sport, so after school or intramural sports that take place at schools, all of these, you know, provide intersections with schools, and we can create a bunch of advocates to ensure that we're advancing the efforts and not creating undue pain.
Exactly. Yes. So does anybody have anything else they want to add or share from what you're working on? If there's something else to include, I know, just a reminder, I don't know, Shelley, if we have more. I mean, I know we've kind of gone through my agenda that I had received, from what Katie had kind of shared. So I just was thinking through, just a reminder, please sign up for the school sector summit that's on September 28th. And I think we'll all be really, I think it'll be a great presentation and conversation, and really help us as we're launching, I guess, into this year with maybe kind of that invigorated feeling of what we're going to do, and kind of where we want to take our implementation groups, any task force groups that may come up additionally too. So if there's something in someone's mind that you're like, this is something else, you know, don't hesitate to, you know, at least bring it to our attention, that it could be another an option as a task force or a mini group, or however we want to look at that for that. And then of course to sign up for the KCPA summit, the larger summit that will be on that Thursday morning from 9 until noon on September 29th. And
the only thing I'll add or ask, I guess, so in the school sector special event, the general agenda will be the first hour or so will be the presenter, and then we'll have, within that hour, we'll have time for Q&A, so can ask specific questions that we might be interested in. Then we'll take a short break, and after that, we'll have the opportunity to have a conversation around what sort of, where do we go from here? One of the things I'd love your feedback on, Robin and Christine and I would love your feedback on, is what are the questions we should be asking the attendees that will help advance our work? So should we be asking specifically about their challenges? Should we be asking barriers to implementing physical activity opportunities within school settings? Are there other questions you can think of that would be good for this group to talk about? So we'll have about 40 to 45 minutes for conversation at that event. One of the things that I know we do want to ask about is connecting the school sector to the other sectors, and if groups have ideas for what that might look like, we will be asking that question. But I'll pause for a second and see if you all have any additional feedback for what we might want to ask. Maybe those are good enough conversation starters to get us going. Thanks, Sarah. Well, and I know I'm sort of putting you all on the spot by asking that right now. So I would just say, think about that. And if you have ideas for questions, feel free to send them to us. Or you don't have to send them to us. If you can attend, just have notes for yourself for things you'd like to bring up, whether it's sharing information about programs or projects or ideas you have, or sharing additional information, whatever you think, even sharing resources that you might think that the group would find valuable, great as well. But we'll have time for interaction, and we'll be able to share an opportunity for funding implementation projects at that meeting as well. Okay, that's all I have, Robin.
I don't have anything else either. So I hope that you can enjoy maybe this evening a little bit of being outside. Jill looks like she's sitting outside now too. I'm like,
nice.
Jealous. So maybe that's what we'll all have to take a minute and get up away from our computers. But thank you for joining us. Patrick, thank you for coming as well and bringing your information and thoughts and questions. You're welcome to join us anytime. Definitely. We hope that you will, at least maybe more than twice a year when we're working on some of those things. But we appreciate it too. We know you have another sector to be part of, so we understand that. But thank you. And gosh, we'll be, ending August soon. Next week. Gosh, it's like middle of the week next week. I know my husband said something about, well, September, there's something about the 30th, something. I'm like, well, that's not for a few more weeks. I'm like, oh no, it's like a week and a half away. So here we are. But thanks everybody. And Sarah, we hope you can join us again too. Share information. We can pass information along. Of course, you'll be part of our mailing list or email group, and happy to connect in ways that you find out more too as you're working with schools and want to share those across to us.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. And as you're developing your flyers, we do have an outreach center, and I'm doing some work with Kansas City Health Department. So share them and I'll push them.
Perfect. And Natalie, thank you too for coming. I know some people hit and miss in different times, so it's nice to have that. And Jill, of course, and Veronica as well. So. And Shelley. So anyway, thank you all. We'll give you back some time now. And again, if questions come to mind that you'd like for us to include, that you think of ahead of time, or if you're joining on the day for the summit, feel free to, just share them then too, because I think we can have some good discussion. So, all right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Michelle.
See ya.
See ya.